guys, my name is Mightman, welcome back to yet again another weapon review video. We are now going to be finishing off the X series. We have the X hammer here, which is probably a really good camera to use. So this is a alternative to sledgehammer, an improvement to said sledgehammer. 50% chance to correctly hit. It needs you need to be level 25 to equip. You need to have 120 melee skill to master. And as I've said throughout the majority of these reviews, Clayton, please fix this. You need to be level 50 to craft it. This is quite a slow swing weapon, but the damage is much more different than the X cookery, so it is doing 80 per hit and 400 per critical hit. And it can hit up to 3 enemies, and it has enhanced damage radius as well. This can be located outside of Southeast Zone or Death Row for those who know it. And yeah, this is quite a solid car weapon. It has had a nice wee improvement as well. With the grind setup here, we have a lot of damage. We also do have a boss hive set up somewhat close by, so we'll go with that, try out, and so we're finally here. So just gotta preference this before we go in. We are going to have 25% extra damage due to the mastery and the strength there as well. So let's come in and just start swinging. Oh, it's 500. It's really good for what the damage are, actually really good. So we'll wait for some of the bosses to come in to get tested the damage against them. It should actually stagger some of them at some point. Oh, okay, so with the Charred Titan being in this, so let's just kind of get to the review now. So this weapon, obviously being a melee, isn't particularly best at boss hunting in the slightest. Obviously there are instances where you could use this in a one-on-one battle, but in boss hive you're not particularly going to do well. The drawbacks for this weapon is kinda really just a DPS. You're not going to get what? And they got taken under the map. Lovely. Basically swing speed for this isn't that fast. You need to have your dexterity up there just to kind of get to do what it's doing now. And given that the dexterity stat only gives you 15%, and it's not even noticeable on the stats here, does make this a little bit more difficult. With melee as well, you are going to have a harder time to deal with the hordes in general, and this is no exception either. This is quite annoying because I'm getting a bit of a momentum issue with some of these bosses. But I'm doing 500 damage with a crit, it's hitting 3 enemies, it does what it says in the tin in a sense, and it is good. One of the things I would probably recommend regarding this, actually just even a straight up recommendation for Clayton, give us a unique model, have it more comparable to the icon down here. Give me a white sledgehammer that looks fancy as hell. The original fact for this as well, it's just to have a different icon. That was what? Fucking hell. And that was due to the age of it. It got improved to be where it is now. It used to have a bit more of a normal hammer tenderizer look. But let's now put on the actual grinding implants, because we've had enough looking at what this does at space form. And realistically, for a melee weapon, you're not going to use this for hordes, so use it in this kind of aspect is a bit ridiculous. But it is doing decent damage. I can see I've kind of touched on all the kind of pressure points for these bosses. The only issue for this is literally the damage per hit, attack speed. But even at that, as a litter, this is going to be one of your best weapons to use as a melee user. You get the buff from the both strength and the mastery, which does pretty much increase us to dramatic odds. And if you have the Hail Parasite or anything that increases your attack speed, you're going to be swinging this, pretending it's a shine in a sense. I mean, here's Mightman. Kind of situation. Yep, doing drastically better damage, 1.2k, which is really good for a melee. This will pretty much destroy most, if not all, zombies to some degree. I realise I didn't give this a rating at its base form, and that's fine. At its base form, I would give it a 6. Like, this is a melee weapon I would really consider to be one of your best kind of budget ones. And if you can obviously walk around the way you do with Death Row, like I'm doing with this boss hive, you will be able to loot very efficiently. You take out most, if not all, zombies. For example, you take out the 1,000 eyes in 2 hits, 2 3 hits with the base stats there, if you didn't have any damage boosts. With the stats itself, you will be able to take out most, if not all. It will give the bears maybe 3 hits in the Raven Ridge. Obviously it won't be workable in Wasteland due to obvious reasons, and I just think this is just a fundamentally decent melee. Like, you really can't go wrong with melee because of how the skill is. It covers quite a lot of the aspect of the looting area, especially in the early stages of the game. And even despite that, you are going to be relying on it for quite a while if you're not got the funds. As soon as you get a melee weapon, you're sorted. You will hit your budget, your money looting kind of thing quite quickly, due to the requirement of not having to need any ammo. On the preface of obviously giving that a rating at full potential, I would give this an 8. Like, I'm actually enjoying using this as is. It is handling the war pretty well at its full potential, and it's not as if I've been deliberately or getting hit or anything like that, but it does help to doing that damage to get rid of certain bosses that are going to be hindering the momentum here in a sense. So for example, Black Titan, I'll use the actual original name, the guy that's going to throw me about, and it's nearly dead. It's literally dead. But I take out the Wraith, I've got 2 more hits. Or 3, oh sorry, let's see, it's like 4 hits actually while I'm looking at that. And if I take out the Hound, it's got another 3 hits. 5, I say 5, 1. 2, I did hit her. 3, hit again. Is it going to get it? 5, there we go, so I'll just say it as 5 there. And it's not going to take me long to kill this charred Flaming Titan here. Flaming Charred Titan, that's the way it's actually called. And you might even notice that I was going to start staggering. So as long as I can hit the get the critical hit, it is going to stagger more than anything in this kind of zone. So yeah, fundamentally, this X Hammer, out of the series, this is one of the most strongest weapons you'll get, and probably the only weapon that I would come with a highly recommended caveat to it, just purely due to how it is. Now, I might need to start blasting in a second just to look. Yeah, so overall, the X Hammer, I would say out of all the weapons here, this would probably be one of my highest recommendations in honesty. It hits like a brick, hits like a ton of bricks, let's put it that way. The requirement for it isn't necessarily that high, it's a decent budget weapon in that mid to late game, and personally I think this could give other melee weapons a run for money in terms of raw damage. Yes, you will get more damage through the melee thing, and that is all ones that I would probably recommend to use, like Bloodseeker. But yeah, this is fundamentally just a really good weapon. Comparing this to obviously the other ones, obviously each and every single weapon is different in terms of how you use it. I wouldn't necessarily give us a tier list, but you know, I feel as if I need to in a sense. I feel as if with the cap huzzah, like the end of obviously these reviews, this feels like it's going to be that one. But yeah, thank you very much guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this weapon. Have you had it before? Are you planning on getting it after this review? And are you thinking, hey, that's pretty snazzy, with an icon. In terms of improvements, I can't think of anything. There's nothing really to improve on this. Only thing I would ask Clayton to do is give it a more unique model, make it like it is in the icon, really. And that's it. But guys, thank you very much for watching. This is the end of the X series. I will have this uploaded before the 2nd of April, and then we'll move on to the fun and games. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, great time. I shall see you in the Easter event. This isn't an April Fool's, and goodbye.